And we are live. I guess that's how you started. Fuck it. We are
It's
live.
time.
Yeah. I guess that's how you say it professionally. We are live, ladies and gentlemen, boys and
We
girls.
are live.
Yeah.
This is exciting.
Yes, this is.
I think
I
this is
like
the
this.
first time. Yeah, I think this is the first time I've ever done a collab with another One Piece YouTuber in a discussion video.
Fuck
I am
it.
very, very excited.
First time for everything, man. Gotta dive
I
into
know.
it sometimes, man. You don't know how the
We got
waters
that here.
may feel until you actually, go and head, well, not head first, but you have to at least take your foot and test the waters out real quick.
It's true. If you got a devil fruit though, then you're gonna sink. So
Oh, yeah. Well,
you can't do that if you have a devil fruit power. And you're the king of lightning. So you have Eneru's devil fruit. Hello? What, what was that?
Yo. Okay.
I just
All right.
heard a crazy sound. No, keep this in. Keep this in.
What in the fuck?
What was that sound?
I don't know, man. I don't know. Just fucking wing it, dude. Just fucking wing it, man. All right, like we're at the point where it's like, you know what? Like let's just see what happens. Like whatever happens, happens. All right,
That's
and
it, man.
we just have to roll with it. So this video, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, is me and RogersBase talking about. Well, I'm the King of Lightning. All right, so let me just clarify that. We are talking about Sanji because this is Sanji's year. So far, things are basically it's been just characterization of Sanji. Things that Sanji, like we didn't know a lot about his past, and now we're finding out more about his past, his family, the Vinsmoke family. They are the top assassins of this mythical evil army. They run shit. Germa, can't say his name right. Germa 66, double six, also known as the Warmonger. I mean, like it sounds like Sanji's family is. I mean, I know it's been referenced like time and time again, but I think it's a fair reference. Like they are the Zoldycks. Like that's who they are. All right. If you watch Hunter x Hunter, like you know who the Zoldyck family are. Like they are the Zoldycks. And how this is going to play out in the future. I mean, I'll give my quick thoughts. I'll let Roger take over for a few minutes. But basically, here's what I think is going to happen in the next few months of Sanji's year. I'm thinking more or less that Sanji is going to wind up being tailed by Luffy and company. And Sanji's going to wind up, of course, running into, I think, Big Mom first. We're going to wind up seeing Big Mom first. Because I don't think Big Mom is at the location yet. We know that Capone is taking Sanji somewhere. So meeting Big Mom first. Then they're going to go to a certain area. Area where it's going to be located, I'm not too sure. I'm thinking either somewhere in the New World, probably. That's the way I think it is. Because there's no way that they're going to go over to the freaking North Blue. There's no way. But basically, you have that. And then you're going to have Sanji meet Purin, who I'm hoping is a three-eyed chick. I don't want it to be like some girl that resembles Big Mom too much. Because that's just nasty, all right? Like, that's just gross on every level. Like, if it's someone
I definitely think it'll be the three-eyed girl.
That's what I'm hoping for, too. Because if it's someone like Lola, oh, God. That's just cruel. Because Sanji, every time, Oda just dick teases Sanji. He fucks Sanji over like a billion times over. I'm like, no, Oda, stop, goddamn. Why you do this, Sanji? That's my dude. And then every time he just gets screwed over massively. Whether it be Wanda poster, whether it be, like the mermaid thing. Like, I mean, first of all, like the fact that Sanji was traumatized by, what's her face? Way back when. Not Marineford, Water 7. Oh, God. Nasty, you remember her name?
Why can't I not think of her name? The ugly old mermaid woman.
Yeah, her.
Of course. Oh my God, this is gonna kill me. This is gonna kill me. How can I not think of this girl's name? This ugly Fukuro. Oh no, it's not Fukuro.
No.
Fukuro's the fat.
Yeah.
With the zipper. Oh, bro,
Kokoro
what is her
Basan.
name?
Boom, got it. Kokoro Basan. Yeah, Kokoro.
That's
yeah,
right. That's
Kokoro
right.
Basan.
That's right.
Just this fucking shell shock Sanji for like hours on it. Like, no, this can't be happening. This can't be real. You know. And the fact that, like, here comes Sanji, comes out of time skip after running away from all these Okamas. And he sees mermaids, and it's, like, just constant nosebleeds. So he can't fully enjoy the voluptuous mermaids as much as he'd like to. So Sanji, he even when he has a good time, he has a rough time. So all I'm saying is, I want this to be at least, when it comes to his, wife, possible wife, at least make it the three-eyed girl, because she does seem reasonable. She is cute. She has three eyes, which is kind of freaky, but she is cute overall. And, you know, that'll be interesting, you know, and also finding out what her powers are, her stance in the Big Mom crew. Is she the vice captain of the Big Mom Pirates? Is she someone like Burgess, where she's like the first division commander of like one of their ships? Something like that. You know, it's stuff I want to find out. The Vinsmoke family, his 3 brothers, we're going to find out too. Probably, we're going to find out the Big Mom stuff, related stuff first, as they go to the area where the Vinsmoke are waiting for Sanji, so they can have this wedding. Like, they're not going to probably, like, waste too much time when it comes to this marriage. Probably going to be, like, you know, relatively quick. That's what I'm thinking, more or less. Like, we're talking about, like, okay, here's Big Mom. Like, listen, Sanji, you're going to marry my daughter. Here's my daughter. She'll be there, probably. And then they're going to go together to where Sanji's daddy is, German 66, 66. And then we're going to have meet his brothers, probably. And then you're gonna have Luffy and you know, whatever, Luffy and company try and do something. So Luffy and whoever goes with him, maybe probably Nami, and I want to say Brook, because Brook's hiding shit. Brook's fucking hiding shit. He's hiding too much shit. So I want to say at least Luffy, Nami, and Brook.
Sanji is going, Brook has got to go with him. Yeah, for sure, he's got to go with them. I mean, he knows who the Vinsmoke family is.
Exactly.
He brought up that he knows them. So if anything, yeah, Brook needs to be with Sanji. And on top of that, Brook has been out of the story for a long time now. Same with Sanji. And for this potential Straw Hat crew separation to happen again, and for us to not get any more Brook, just seems like a huge shame. So
exactly. So that's what I'm thinking. I mean, because Chopper, I don't think Chopper is honestly necessary for any of this shit. But I can see Luffy, Brook, and Nami going. At least I can see that being like the trio that follows Sanji, at least those 3, because Nami is the navigator, and Sanji is gonna have a hard time, you know, trying to get back to Zou. But if Nami's there with him, then there's a much better chance of them getting back to Zou. So in the meantime, as all that's happening, we may see but we may have like Zoro be like the head guy, or Zoro and Law be like the ones to, like, you know, maintain balance in Zou. Because if Jack comes back to Zou, well, there may be a Zoro and Law versus Jack thing going on. As Luffy is, you know, going to follow, Sanji, and then deal with, like, Big Mom and, you know, try and, you know, take Sanji back. You know, that kind of stuff.
Yeah. So that's pretty much exactly what I think, too. I definitely think Zoro and Law are going to become, like, the de facto kind of, like, fill-in captains, kind of like how Sanji was during Dressrosa, but the other half of the crew. I totally agree with you. They're going to stay on Zou. I think Jack is probably going to come back, or another one of Kaido's subordinates is going to come back. Maybe one of the other Calamities, who I'm assuming are probably going to be prehistoric zone users. And it makes sense, since we know X-Drake is under Kaido, that maybe X-Drake will come back. And then maybe Law will form some type of alliance with him based on their history in North Blue, and like what happened between him and his father, and Law and Corazon and everything like that on that one island. So I do think that maybe X-Drake is going to come into it. Zoro, like you said, for sure, is definitely going to stay back alongside Law. And I think Zoro kind of knows that Sanji can fend for himself. You know, he realizes that, even though he, like, makes fun of him a lot, he realizes that, like, Sanji can defend himself. And even though Luffy wants to go help him, and Nami wants to go help him, like you said, Brook will probably go with them as well. I think Zoro knows Sanji can handle himself. Meanwhile, we have Kaido on our tail. You know, we can't just let that shit slide. I have to be there, you know, to stop Jack or whoever else is going to come through. Right. And then, just like you said, I think Luffy, Nami, and Brook we'll go chase after Sanji, and we'll kind of get that split half of the story. I agree that'll probably happen first, because that seems like that's like the thing that everybody wants answered right now, right? Who are the Vinsmokes? Mm-hmm. You know, what is Sanji's relation now to Big Mom's family? Like, who is Pudding? Is that indeed the three-eyed girl? What's Big Mom's power? Are they going to Whole Cake Island? You know, what's going to happen to Capone? Because Capone shot Peckham's in the back, and Peckham's has been with Big Mom forever. And, you know, really, it all depends on how Big Mom reacts to what Capone did. Because if she reacts to Capone shooting Peckham's as like, oh, okay, thank you for standing up for me and, like, my family, then cool. But then Peckham's is going to have no place to go. Right. So I could see Peckham's maybe, like, defecting and going alongside Luffy and Sanji and the rest of them when they finally escape from Big Mom. Or she might just be like, Capone, you're a scrub. I can't believe you just shot one of, like, my other subordinates in the back. This man's got seniority. Get the hell out of my organization, you know? And I think either one could potentially happen.
Well, I mean, that depends, I think, on the way of the marriage, because it depends on how the marriage is, how important is this marriage to Big Mom? Because this is, I mean, consider the fact that this is not Big Mom's, like, first, second, or third like daughters who you would figure in like the lineage of family they'd be like the most important daughters or siblings because they're the oldest. They have more seniority over the other daughters. This is the 35th daughter. Like this is like way down the line of daughters. And again, like we don't know who that is. But the fact of the matter is that when it comes to like that family like legacy, like or lineage, if you would, I think like the older daughters would have more weight. So, you know, Sanji marrying like the 35th daughter may not be that much of a big deal to her, but with the exception of having the Vinsmoke as her ally. Now, that may be a thing for her when it comes to, you know, gaining more power in the underworld and the, you know, the underground broker system, which formerly was run by Flamingo and Kaido. So something that she may want to, you know, take over as well. But at the same time, when it comes to Peckham's situation, Big Mom could simply say, okay, fine, so you messed up here. I understand that the Mink are your people and you want to thank Luffy, but at the same time, we have a beef with them, so I want you to prove that you are, in fact, like a genuine member of my crew once again by, you know, hunting down Luffy now. Or either that or, like, you know, like doing something in order to get it back in her good graces. Because he has that seniority among the Big Mom crew. Therefore, she may give him like a second chance to prove his worth once again to her. So he may lose his position, but he'll still be a member of the Big Mom Pirates as long as he can stay in her good graces once again. And I think it ties to the whole bloodline ties that they mentioned, where it's not really been highlighted that much, but they have some kind of bloodline connection, some blood tie with Big Mom herself, which I'm not too sure what that actually means.
Yeah, I don't know if that's like an old marriage or if that's maybe someone who is like a distant cousin or I don't know. I'm not really sure. I mean, the one thing that we can look at in terms of Big Mom and the underground and possible connections is actually in the name Germa 66. Because, and this is something I actually didn't even think of. I got to give props to One World HD for actually coming up with this. This is a brilliant theory. I never even thought of this. So you know how like Doflamingo was called Joker, right? And then we have Jack, and all these people named after card suits.
Right.
So Ace, these are all the people on the ground. Exactly. Aces. Queen is probably Big Mom. King might be Kaido. Who knows? Maybe King is Sanji's dad. I don't know. But what's interesting is that there is a card game, a German card game called 66. That's a very popular trick card game that people play. And I think that might go along with the whole like card suit codename thing of the underground. So maybe there's some tie between their organization and something that Doflamingo did in the past that's beyond just like the underground. Maybe it has something to do with the Celestial Dragons or the Gorosei. Because ultimately, people who have watched my channel or know the theory that I'm talking about, I truthfully believe whoever Sanji, who's in Sanji's family, is somehow related to the blonde Gorosei that we saw, the blonde Five Elder Star, like a long, long, long time ago. And I know it's strange and it comes out of nowhere and a lot of people are like, what? Like you think they're related because they both have blonde hair? No, I think it's interesting because who else within the world government, no matter what the assassin organization is, no matter if you're a Yonko or not, who else would have the power to make an only alive wanted poster? Because, and it's got to be someone above the Celestial Dragons. They have to have power above the Celestial Dragons. Because we've seen...
The whole thing...
Go ahead.
The Celestial Dragons, they're the top motherfuckers. It's just that the Gorosei
are above them.
When it comes to like the world government operations and that kind of stuff, the world government, the Gorosei are the pinnacle. But because the Tenryubito have the legacy of the ancient kings that made the world government in the first place, they're the ones that have like that untouchable status. So like they're the ones that have their own country in the Red Line that's designed for mainly them. So yes, like you're right when you say that the Gorosei are like the head, like they're above the Tenryubito, but they're above the Tenryubito when it comes to like controlling government aspects. You see what I'm saying?
Right, and this goes back to the Only Alive poster, right?
Well,
This is like what I was tying it back to. Yeah, because I mean, Doflamingo had a Dead or Alive poster, and he was a Celestial Dragon. Like we've seen Celestial Dragons with Dead or Alive posters before.
Yeah, but he's a former one, and he was kicked out.
Poster is true. That's true. Yeah, that is actually true. Yeah. That's a good point.
He was kicked out. So even though, yes, he was Tenryubito by blood, they kicked him out because his father, I forgot what his name was, he said, well, let's try living with them. And they banned the Flamingo family. They said, fuck you guys, because you guys want to live with humans. Okay, fine. And when he brought his father's head back, they said, no. too bad, you guys left. It's your fault. Haha. Peace out. So he could never really get back to that. That he can never get back into like their good graces because again, like his father screwed them over. So that's something that I think like yes. So you are right when you say that, but just keep in mind that he was booted.
That's true. That's true. I almost always like forget that he was booted out of the Celestial Dragons, and that's crucially important. But I still think somehow this organization is tied to someone very high up, either the Gorosei, maybe even someone within the Marines. Maybe this goes as far as like Kong. We don't know anything about him, but this obviously has some tie to something that's much bigger than anything that we've seen at this point. And one other thing I want to point out that I think is very strange is when Nami was talking about Warmonger and Germa 66 in the past chapter, and she was like, oh my gosh, he's related to that organization? Or I think it was Nami, or was it Nami or Robin? I can't remember. It was one of the two.
Nami was the one that mentioned how they're an evil mythical army. Like she mentioned how they're just mysterious innately.
Right. I think it's interesting that they're this big mythical army and we've not yet ever heard of them ever before in all of One Piece. I think that's so strange, and I feel like they've got to have a tie to someone. And I think they obviously do have a tie to someone.
Well, I mean,
it's just going to be a matter of time.
Like, you know what it is? Because I think it ties. Well, I think it pertains to the fact that Oda never actually mentioned the whole underground underbroker system up until Punk Hazard. That's something that's been completely new when it comes to the One Piece meta. It's something that's never existed up until, X point in the series. Very similar to like hockey, where hockey, it was foreshadowed, but it was never actually a thing. It was never actually like something that was like known to be an actual like method of power, aside from devil fruits and regular training up until a certain point to the story. So that's how Oda kind of like does the story a lot of times, where like all of a sudden, like when you go further into the vastness of the One Piece world, it's found out that there is, like X amount of like for example, the fact that you have countries like Kano Kuni and Wano Kuni, they don't use the Marines. They have their own military system. They have their own powers. They have their own, like for example, Kano Kuni, they have their own emperor, so they don't even like bother when it comes to. Or Shogun. Shogun. They have their own Shogun. So they don't even bother when it comes to getting assistance from outside forces because they have their own military. And how Flamingo may have been, one of the guys trying to like twist and contort everything by selling weapons, therefore ruining, therefore giving Kano Kuni a hard time, giving Elizabeth's country a hard time. All these kingdoms that aren't pirate related, but they have their own forces. But this seems to be a force that is underground base specifically. So the underground concept is something that may span out throughout the entirety of the One Piece world. So it may not be just one particular country. It's probably just like several different countries across, or several organizations that reside in countries across the globe. And these countries, they sent men, or they are a part of this evil army that on paper doesn't exist, but in reality, like, they're there. Now, that's something that I think may tie to the Gorosei, whereas maybe the leader is not, Sanji's, like, maybe Sanji's father, Germa 66, is not that guy with the blonde hair, but the Gorosei, they do have power over the underworld to a certain degree, because they would probably want to take care of certain people that, let's say, for example, CP9 couldn't kill assassins, or CP9 couldn't kill certain individuals because they're well guarded. So let's hire these, if you would, assassins like the Vinsmoke family who could do the job that CP9 can't do. Something like that, where they do have influence. So if the Vinsmoke family say, listen, so we've been paid by you guys, the Gorosei, for X amount of years. We've committed X amount of atrocities across the globe. And now we need a favor from you guys, all right? Now it's time for us to, share some mutual agreement here when it comes to one of our sons, Sanji. So yes, he's a pirate, but we need him because Big Mom and us, we want to have an agreement here. We want to have a marriage here, between our children. So
right.
Yeah. So basically, what it comes down to, I think, is more so, yes, like, there is a possibility that you could be right. It could be the guy with the blonde hair and the Gorosei. Absolutely. But I think Oda Like, is it too obvious? I think it is. I think people are gonna just make the connection because he has the blonde hair, and because he is probably no. Fuck it. It's just the blonde hair, dude. It's just the blonde hair. It's the blonde fucking hair.
Yeah,
it's the blonde fucking hair. That's it.
The blonde hair and the suit. That's it. Yeah.
That's it.
Exactly. I do think though it's interesting when you think of all the connections and people though who are tied to the underground and who also have blonde hair and who also like are very mysterious. And one character that keeps popping up, not just in my theory, but like in almost everybody talking about Germa 66, how potentially he might have a connection, is Killer. Because really, we don't know anything about Killer. We haven't seen his face. I'm pretty sure Killer is a fake name, 100% sure that's not his real name, unless it's maybe a code name that was given to him by this assassination group. But what do you think? Do you think Killer could maybe be related to Sanji? Do you think he might be part of this organization? Do you think there's any connection there?
There may be a connection there between Killer and Sanji and the Vinsmoke and Germa 66, but what I'm afraid that a lot of people who do theories, like myself, like you, like One World HD, is that we're trying to correlate mysteries that are completely separate from each other. So yeah, the guy's name is Killer. He has blonde hair. Therefore, he may be Vinsmoke. And it's like, maybe, I mean, considering the fact that when you had, back in Shibuya Archipelago, you had Luffy's crew, you had Kid's crew, you had Law's crew. They did like a collab thing. The pirate captains, they got together. They try and fend off the, Kizaru and the Pacifista and whatnot. Killer didn't. There was no signs of him recognizing anybody in the tribe. Nothing. He didn't say shit about it. He didn't like make any mention of it. He just followed Kid's orders, and then that was it. End of story. And yes, the guy had. He
and to play devil's advocate also for a second, Oda did mention. Oh, go ahead.
No. Go ahead. You were saying something like devil's advocate.
I was just going to say really quick. Oda did say, to play devil's advocate to what I was saying, Oda did say that he came up with the name Killer on the fly. That it was a name that he didn't think about. He just knew this character needed a name, and he wanted to name this character something badass, so he named him Killer. And he mentioned that in a specific SBS before, so I totally agree that we could be trying to just put together things based off very little evidence just because we want things to be related to things that were already talked about in the story. But I'm just as excited if this is an entirely new organization. All these characters are new. Sanji's brothers are people we haven't met. His father is someone we haven't met. I mean, that's just as exciting to me as this being someone that we actually already know. So it could go either way, and I'd be fine with it,
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. Like, for me, like, it'd be fine, too. Like for me, like, I would like to see some of that kind of play out because it'd be just really cool seeing how, like, the Vinsmoke, like, not only do they have, like, one son who's a part of, like, the Strat crew, but it just so happens that one of his brothers happens to be a part of the Kid crew. And he also left as well. And, like, let's say that he left, like, after, like, a later point in time, something like that. But, like, what I'm trying to say here is that, like, yes, like, there is a mystery to Killer. And he does have, again, the blonde hair, which seems to be a connection for a lot of this shit. I mean, his dad could have black hair. Who the fuck knows? But at the end of the day...
Yeah, right.
But at the end of the day, more or less, it's like... The evidence, the mystery is there. There could be something there, but there's no real like concrete evidence. And again, they're theory videos, so a lot of times the concrete evidence is not going to be there when it comes to the theory, when it comes to that concept. But at the same time, I do have to take a step back and say, yeah, that could be the case, but we're not even reaching for the moon anymore. Like we're reaching for the sun. And we're getting nowhere close. So there could be something there, but like it's that type of thing. Like
my galaxy. It might be the sun of a different galaxy.
Yeah. It's like there's maybe ish, kind of, sort of. Blonde hair. Yeah, blonde hair. Like blonde hair. Okay. What else do we got other than blonde hair? Mask and Nine's real name.
We haven't seen his eyes, yeah.
Okay, right. So, and then also I was told that the Germa 66, the 6 resembles the spirals of Sanji's eyebrows. Someone mentioned that before in my comment section. I was like, ooh.
Okay.
Yeah. Like, so, you know.
I like that too.
Yeah, it's fascinating. It's very fascinating. But
I don't know. I think like all this stuff with his family, it's just like I feel like none of us were expecting this. Like, let me just ask you: going out of Dressrosa, is this what you expected to happen? Because to me, I definitely thought, okay, we're leaving Dressrosa, we're gonna go to Zoe. It'll be this little like transition arc, and then we're gonna go straight into Wano country. We have Kaido set up. You know, there's all these big. I did not think we were touching Big Mom for a long time.
Yes.
I thought we were gonna get Zoe, get to Wano, and then maybe get to Big Mom.
no, I feel you. I mean, because that honestly, like, I thought the same thing, because when you had Kaido introduced, you completely like we understood that the whole thing involving, like, it started in Punk Hazard, where you had Punk Hazard. Well, okay, you know what? Fuck it. It started with the time skip, where the time skip. Yes, you set up Big Mom. Okay, like, whoa. Okay, Big Mom. She has the treasure chest full of all these explosions, all these explosive devices. I don't think she's opened it yet. No, if she did, we fucking see it. But that hasn't happened yet. But like, we know that it's there as a present for Big Mom, which may actually happen during this wedding ceremony, where it just blows up in her face. Like, oh shit. Like, no. Like, where did this come from? Fisherman Island. Oh shit, Luffy, you. I'm like, you know, it could be some shit like that. It could be some shit like that. But also,
how cool would it be if that was like a gift that was given to Sanji and Pudding during their wedding? Like,
that'd be
and
crazy.
She just didn't open it. She was just like, "Oh well, we'll transfer this." Then that's how they escape the wedding, is that the bomb explodes, and then they all escape. Like, it'd be so cool.
That'd be crazy. Because Sanji, he would remember. Oh wait, shit. Hold on. Wait a second. Huh.
Yeah, there's a bomb in there.
Yeah, but
dude, that'd be so sick. I wish. I hope that happens. And he runs off with sexy three-eyed Pudding, and maybe Peckham's comes with. Yeah, we get 2 new Straw Hats out of it, my boy. Perfect. That's how you do Whole Cake Island.
2 new Straw Hats. Not just one. That'd be fucking crazy if that happened. But here's the thing. Wait. But before we go too far with that, here's the thing. So right. when you go to Kaido starts in Punk Hazard, where Law and Luffy make the team to go and, you know, to go and antagonize Kaido, to go and threaten or, you know, ruin Kaido's system by going after Flamingo. So that's how it works out from there. And then you show Kaido, like 20 chapters ago, a little more than that, I think. And then you're like, holy shit, it's fucking Kaido. And all of a sudden, when you make the focus Kaido, and people think, okay, fine, so Kaido, Wano Kuni, what's going on there? You shift back to Big Mom. It's like, bro, how the fuck? Like what? Like, so I did not see this coming at all. But I like the fact that he's focusing now on Sanji, but he's focusing on Sanji not necessarily because of, let's say, he's focusing on Sanji because Sanji and company haven't gotten that much time over the past, like, year and a half. Let's be real here. So that's why I think, yes, Sanji, Brook, and Nami, they should have time. And, you know, those two following Sanji, along with Luffy, I think makes perfect sense.
Yeah, I agree. I'm curious. I do think Chopper, I'm in agreement with what you said. I do think Chopper would stay behind with Zoro and Law, not only... Even though a lot of people would be like, oh, you know, he hasn't really been in the story that much recently. Not only because of the fact that he's an animal and, like, they're on Zoe right now, but I also kind of feel like they would need a doctor if something goes bad with Law. Because, you know, Law could perform surgery on himself, but I also kind of think they would, like, need a doctor to be with them. And, yeah, that would leave the Luffy crew without a doctor, but that would give them an excuse to come back to Zoe then afterwards. Because they still, if they leave Zoe and they go to Whole Cake Island and they do all this stuff with Sanji, they got to get back to Zoro and Law somehow. And unless they have a Vivre card, they aren't getting back to Zoe. They need to have a Mink with them. Mm-hmm. So I feel like that's why I also kind of talk about Peckham's and Sanji and all this stuff. The correlation is I feel like Peckham's has got to be with them from when they get to Big Mom to when they get off Big Mom, because they have to get back to Zoe. And Chopper's not from Zoe. Chopper's an animal, but he's not from Zoe, so he's not going to know how to get back to Zoe. Right. And you know, it's Luffy who they have the Vivre card for, not Zoro and not Law. So, yeah.
That makes perfect sense. But let me ask you this question, because I have been thinking about it for myself for some time now, and you did mention the Vivre card. So Luffy in the latest chapter, for reference, chapter 815, I think it was, the last chapter. Yeah. Luffy did mention something that I thought was fucking insane, But when I step back and I think about it, I'm like, you know what? There may be just this crazy one-off chance that it could happen. And that was him mentioning that he would make Peckham's and Big Mom and everybody into his subordinates. Now, I was thinking that's fucking absolutely insane, dude. However, when I remembered Thriller Bark, and I remember Lola, and she had the Vivre card for her mom, and I'm thinking, shit, so she could be one of Big Mom's daughters. And then there could be something where Big Mom, she, like, maybe Lola is like one of like her higher up daughters, like the second or like the first daughter. So grateful for Luffy and company for saving Lola when it came to the Florian Triangle. She's like, you know what? You guys have pissed me off, but you guys dissing my daughter. I owe you, motherfuckers. And if she were to, like, let's say, hypothetically, have an alliance, not really be subordinates, but have an alliance with Luffy whenever he needed an alliance for, let's say, someone, a heavy hitter, like Kaido, Big Mom, Luffy, collab, Kaido. That's something that I've been thinking about. So let me hear what you have to say about that.
I actually totally agree. I completely agree. I think there is totally a possibility for Luffy, after all this stuff with the wedding, that either, they run away from Big Mom, they escape from Big Mom, or they could very well put together an alliance. Because really, Kaido is untouchable. Kaido is the immortal man. I mean, he cannot die.
Supposedly, supposedly. We don't know. We don't know.
Of course.
He could be immortal. No one has gotten
that point.
Right, exactly.
He's undefeated to this point. He's the strongest beast alive. He could probably die, but it's neither here nor there. It's not confirmed yet. But they need a heavy hitter. Luffy and Law and Zoro can't just go in and be like, all right, we're going to destroy Kaido. Because even when Kaido was standing in front of Kid and Hawkins and Apu and Killer, like the four of them were in front of Kaido and all of them were pissing their pants. All of them. Plus their entire crew.
Mm-hmm. The dude's
massive.
Exactly. The dude fell 10 kilometers. Didn't even fucking flinch. Like, what was that? Oh.
Yeah, from the sky. So I don't think they could take him on unless they really do have a heavy hitter behind them. And we know that Kid is going after Shanks right now, so Shanks got his hands full. Blackbeard's kind of like endgame level. So who's
Blackbeard's
left?
going after freaking dragon right now.
Big Mom
according to, like,
versus
Jesus
Kaido.
Burgess.
And this is exactly you never know. So I do think that, like, if they are going to take on Kaido, they would need someone big behind them, maybe like Big Mom. I don't necessarily think Big Mom would ever agree to being a subordinate of Luffy, and I definitely know Luffy would never be an underling to Big Mom, but I do think some type of alliance could form depending on the events of the next arc, definitely.
Yeah, so we're in like the same camp in that case then, because it's something that I have thought about. But like my thing here is that like Kaido, I think he is like, because we don't know how his powers work, right? He could be immortal, he could be extremely durable, he could have some other type of thing going on that allows him just to like survive when it comes to being tortured and falling down 10 kilometers and whatnot. But at the same time, it's more or less like Kaido, when it comes to him being like the strongest thing alive, the strongest creature alive, I'm not too sure what they're like referring to. Are they referring to as him being the strongest person on the planet? Because that was Whitebeard's title, but then now it's Kaido's title? Or is that more so like the way his powers work? Like he's a creature because he's like that beastly. Like he's a Zoan of like the highest order. So when it comes from a strength solely standpoint, he's the strongest physically. Like I'm not too sure. Like there could be various ways to look at it, but because I feel that Luffy is not ready to take on a Yonko in single combat, I don't see it happening. I can't see it happening at this point in time. Gear 4 was amazing.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. No.
Gear 4 was fucking amazing. But if Gats and company weren't there, he would have lost to Flamingo. Flamingo would have walked up, been like, "Nice try, kid. You were amazing. Cut, end of story. Walk away. You're all gonna damn die." But at the same time, if you have someone like Big Mom behind him, I mean, shit, dude, you have one hell of an ally to take on this freak that fell 10 kilometers. Yeah, absolutely. So what I'm thinking here is that could be a possibility, or he could just say, let's see, we're gonna have everyone collab against, you know, Kaido. So you're gonna have Luffy, you're gonna have Law, you're gonna have Zoro, Sanji, Bartolomeo, Cavendish, all
the Grand Fleet. I mean, they have a Grand Fleet now. They could call all of them. Yeah,
bring all of them. Shit. Yeah. So that could happen as well.
Yeah. 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 Plus all, like you said, all Big Mom subordinates, all those people. I mean, plus the Minx. I mean, I'm sure the Minx would help.
Oh, yeah.
And we have to settle what's going on right now based on the latest chapter 2 between the Samurai and the Minx. Because right now, like,
good shit.
Oh, that's a whole other thing that's got to go on. That's still got to get answered before we get to Big Mom.
Absolutely.
We have to find out what's going to happen when the Samurai greet the Minx. And that whole thing's got to be resolved. They have to work together. I mean, it's a mess right now. The story's a mess. It's an exciting mess, but it is a mess right now.
Right, because Oda right now, he's leveraging the two Yonko at the same time, really. He's leveraging Big Mom and Kaido simultaneously through all the Wano Kuni stuff that's going on, and the issue that the Mink have with the Wano Kuni guys, obviously, and Jack, and the fact that you have, you know, like someone like Momonosuke who's in hiding right now because he doesn't want to be seen by the Mink. At the same time, you got Sanji, you got Big Mom, you got Peckham's, you got Capone. It's like, Jesus. So he's leveraging these two at the same time.
Mom still, too.
Exactly, you have that, too.
Caesar was with Sanji. It's like there are so many characters that are all connected to what's basically the underground. The underground is like the tie between everyone, it seems, right now.
That's what it seems, yeah.
And, and it seems like this whole story saga is just this big, long saga in relation to this underworld that we never knew about until the time skip.
Right.
But, I mean, honestly, it makes for good storytelling. So I'm down for whatever he's going to do. But, it's just he's throwing everything. And all these characters that we're even forgetting about. There's other characters, like, from Just Rosa that'll probably come back. Bellamy's probably going to come back. It's like, it's a mess.
And not only that, too, but consider the fact that when it comes to the underground mystical evil army, the Vinsmoke are at the top of it all. And the fact that Peckham's and through Peckham's and through Capone's actions, it seems like even Big Mom is a little bit on her toes. So it's kind of like someone like Sanji's father, like German 66, may have as much influence as the Yonko.
Yeah,
and
totally.
He is just gonna, but he's not as well known because there is that mythical aspect to them where like no one really, like everyone knows Big Mom, Shanks, Kaido, Blackbeard, everyone knows what the fuck is going on there. They're up front, they're open, like like we're Yonko, we're the top motherfuckers on the planet. What up? But when you have someone like German 66 who is the head of this mythical army that's underworld verse, you're kind of like shit. So there could be other people who aren't as like world renowned per se as the Yonko, but they're just as fierce. They have organizations just as vast, and they are to be feared as the Yonko would be feared. So I think it's something that we have to keep in mind because Sanji's daddy is apparently one hell of a motherfucker. Like he is not to be trifled with. So that's something that I think we have to also keep in mind as well. Because Sanji's dad is a key player in this, and he is regulating to the same degree as Big Mom. I mean, the intel that Big Mom. I mean, let me ask you on Big Mom's intel because that's been some scary shit as of late. So like, what are your thoughts on that?
How like she knows like Zeph and how she knows everybody that's related to Sanji. I think I had a theory on this and I hesitated to do a video, so I didn't do a video because I had like no real evidence. But I think somehow Zeph knows the Vinsmoke family because we know that Zeph took out the pirate ship that Sanji was on when he was like a trainee chef. But I don't think Zeph knows that Sanji was a Vinsmoke. I think Zeph just attacked that ship with intel that the Vinsmokes were somehow connected to it, and then let's go attack it and take it down. I don't think he knows, even to this point, I don't think he knows that Sanji is a Vinsmoke. But I think because of that event, because of him actually attacking that, I do think that however the Vinsmokes are connected, and this intel then went to Big Mom, obviously, because Big Mom and the Vinsmokes are obviously constantly talking to each other, setting up these arranged marriages. She probably knew of Zeph through that intel. So I think that's how she knew Zeph. I think that was just like a weird scare tactic thing that Peckham's brought up about how like he knew that and how she knew that. I don't think that has anything to do with like her actually knowing everybody that Sanji's ever, met in his entire life, Okay.
Yeah,
I think it has something to do with some kind of tie with Zeph and the Vinsmokes.
Gotcha. Because but it's not just that. she also knew about the freaking Kamabaka Kingdom where he was trained for 2 years when he was running around.
Yeah, where he was training for 2 years.
Yeah.
But I think that goes towards Marineford because, like, everybody knew about Luffy's escape from Impel Down. And then after a while, I mean, Kuma, I'm sure, unless she has a tie to the Revolutionaries or some crazy shit like that, I don't know. But Kuma knew where he sent everybody. So maybe somehow she has been talking to Kuma, or Kuma's been leaking information, or Kuma looked to her before, like, he fully became an automaton, pacifisto, everything.
Maybe.
Who knows, dude?
Maybe.
It's crazy.
I mean that could be possible, but I mean from that time period, all we know about Kuma is so he smacked him away, then he became an automaton after that point in time, and then we know after that he spent 2 years guarding the Straw Hat ship. And that's because Vegapunk inputted that particular order into
his body.
In his body, right? So I mean it's possible that before he, went completely blank, he did talk about where he sent the Straw Hats to certain individuals. Though I'm not too sure if that would actually, because he made the effort to do it in the first place. So then why tell someone like Big Mom about it?
Right.
So,
unless she has a tie that we don't know to somebody who is on like the quote unquote good side of things. Like who knows? We really don't know.
Yeah, that is true too. So let me ask you about. Now that we're starting to get some more intel about Sanji and his characterization is building, what do you think is going to happen to him from a power standpoint, if anything? So like, what do you think we're going to find out about? Like, let's say, like for example, like I made a theory like fucking 3 years ago where I said that like his fire is his haki, and I'm pretty sure a lot of folks think that as well now. Where like, his spirit burns hotter than fire, therefore he emits fire as a means of like attacking, and that's through his haki. That he doesn't hurt him anymore, or at least that's the way it seems to be. Like he just can't get hurt via like fire-based stuff. That's the way I think it is. Or he admits it because his spirit burns hotter than fire. So when it comes to the Vinsmoke, I've been hearing a lot of things about where Sanji's powers are going to lie in the future. So like, what do you think is going to happen?
I will say, without a doubt, I do not think he's going to get Conqueror's Haki, which is something that a lot of people are somehow talking about. No, man. Sanji's not going to have Conqueror's Haki. I mean, a lot of people still think Zoro's going to have Conqueror's Haki too, but I don't think either of them will get it. I just don't think it's going to happen. But I do kind of think that the Haki he does have, Armament Haki and Observation Haki, will be built upon. And I'm totally in agreement with you that I feel like his fire burning, his passionate spirit is kind of his own take on Haki. Right, like, because really, when that was introduced to us, that was before we even knew what Haki was for the first time. When he first used, like, his heat-up abilities, that was before we even knew what Haki was. So I do think that is some type of version of Haki, but I also think maybe that's going to tie to the whole idea of, like, and it's just based off their names, but, like, Vinsmoke, right? Smoke, fire, heat, connections between the name and potential power bases. Maybe his entire family can do those type of attacks, do Diablo Jinbeis or that kind of thing,
Okay, I like
maybe
that.
That's some friction. I don't know. Yeah, but I think it might come from the name.
No, I like that a lot. That to me, I thought was because I mean Sanji, he does smoke cigarettes, Vinsmoke, and that could be lit to fire to ignite the actual cigarette. Okay, I like that. I like that a lot. I mean, I think that. Because I've been hearing a lot of stuff about Sanji in the future, like what his maximum powers are going to be. I've just, again, theories for days on that. You got like stuff, people talking about how like the spiral on his eyebrows represents like infinite like spiral energy or something like that. Some do a plasma, and I'm like, shit. Like we're going like. When it comes to theory,
just like how Zoro's eye has the ultimate Sharingan or whatever. It's
It's like from that standpoint, it's like maybe like it's like what you're saying is founded on something, but I think it's like shaky. I think it's some shaky stuff. But when I think about how the Vinsmoke are now the head of this mythical evil, and the fact that Nami referenced that as evil, that they're an evil army. They're assassins by nature. And when I think about how Sanji always references the devil, he always does like the devil, I'm the devil, I'll become the devil. Like, oh, well, spices are created by the devil. He's a chef, obviously. So when I think about that, the more I think about, and like also the fact that Oda, he did it in like a gag way, but when it's a very iconic scene where like Sanji becomes Super Saiyan, like Thriller Bark, and like his face turns like pitch, like crimson red. He has the ears going on, pointy as shit. He's mad as fuck. Like, oh, now he's gonna get married? No fucking way, no way. Yeah. That's something that I'm thinking like maybe there's something there because Oda did something with the fire. He made it into a gag. He made it, you know, it was a gag, but he made it into like a legitimate power where it was like, no, this is actual thing. When he goes into Hell's Memories, and he even calls it Hell's Memories, all right? Again, more reference to like, you know, demons in the underworld, Hell's Memories. And for him, that hell was, you know, the Kambaka Kingdom. And so his eyes start to slant up. He becomes like, you know, immersed in the fire. His teeth start to get like, maybe like pseudo razor sharp. And I'm like, there's something going on there where it's a gag. But when Sanji gets angry, which will correlate with his spirit, knowing that his family seems to have like this evil connection to it, being assassins and being head of this evil army, Oda may be going for like the devil route, if you would, because he clearly went like the demonic lord route with Zoro, with freaking Ashura and Gyuki and Mbima. Jesus, dude. Okay, so so he went that way with Zoro. He could go the opposite way, where it's not really like because I think Ashura, Gyuki, and Mbima are like Japanese, like they're Japanese, like Land of the Dead stuff. Like it's that kind of thing. Where it's like Zoro's more on like the Japanese side of things,
right? Yeah.
Whereas Sanji would be more
Sanji's Anglo, like he's like very European.
Exactly.
Yeah, for sure. Totally agree with you. Yeah, totally.
Yeah, so like that's what I think Oda may want to go with Sanji now. So like I was thinking like so Sanji may have some like Hellfire stuff at some point because he has Hell's Memories. It wouldn't be a shock if he had some Hellfire stuff. I mean, I talked to one guy about it for a while. He was saying how Sanji's final form is going to be similar to Zoro's, where Zoro, he'll have like an actual like Ashura, like a true like Ashura form and whatnot. And Sanji would actually like become Saiyan himself. He'll have like a devil's tail, have like, you know, like horns and shit. I was like, okay.
I like that. That's cool.
And then Luffy would be like some kind of like deity figure. Like I've seen One World's theory on
the Monkey God?
The Monkey God, which is a massive stretch. I mean, dude, you're reaching for stars in other galaxies at this point in time. I'm like, whoa. But at the same time, this whole thing is a stretch, right? This whole thing is a stretch. We're reaching for shit with no rubber arms. So, like, we're just like, fuck, dude.
Exactly.
Like
we're stretching without the gummy gummy.
Exactly. So,
yeah.
The fact of the matter is that when you think about how he always references hell and devil and fire and spices and that kind of stuff, I'm like, there's something going on there. Oda, he's maybe making it into a gag, or he's playing it as a gag right now, but don't be surprised where later on it's kind of like, shit, okay, so this is real.
Yeah.
So like, this is like legit.
I think one other thing, maybe potentially in terms of a power base that he could draw from, would be from his time in the Kamabaka Kingdom too. And, you know, he clearly has some horrible repressed memories, and we saw in some of like the joke pictures that they tried dressing him up in like girls' outfits and stuff before. What if his ultimate like final attack, how crazy and ironic would it be if Sanji's ultimate final attack is like he takes a pill with Ivankov's like serum in it or whatever, turns into a woman, and then just goes batshit insane, becomes a demon, all this stuff, and then goes and attacks people. Like, if that is his final attack, I think that could be so funny and so ironic because of like how he treats women with just with like such respect and such grace, and like how he loves them and he worships women. If his final form somehow was like some cross-dressing Okama type stuff, that would be really, really funny. And at the same time, it would be like, I think, kind of equal on like Ivankov's power level. I hate to use that term, but like I feel like if he was training with Ivankov for that long, he probably learned something. And Sanji was already strong before the time skip. I wouldn't be surprised if he was on like a near Ivankov pre-time skip level with whatever this final attack is.
Well, I mean, first of all, I mean, I would cringe every waking moment if Sanji turned to a girl. Like,
right?
Oh God, no.
Well, it's got to happen at some point. It's got to happen.
I'll be, oh God, Oda, no, you fucking ass! Like every time with you, Oda. But so that's the first thing. The second thing is Ivankov, and then this is where I kind of have to like. This is where I kind of have to like talk to a lot of folks about it, because Ivankov, as far as we know, he never actually trained Sanji. Sanji the entire time was running around trying to get recipes, the 99 some odd recipes that the Okama like chefs knew. And in the meantime, he was going to be chased down every waking moment by the Okama. So as far as we know, he spent, when it came to a training, it was just straight up running. That was his training. Yeah. Now, granted, he does use an attack that's reminiscent of Ivankov's. He has the Polar Spectrum. He does have that.
Right.
But at the same time, he like as far as we know, time skip wise, Ivankov was not the same way to Sanji as Rayleigh was to Luffy. Like they didn't like sit down and train and try new attacks. I think the same thing applies for Zoro too, because like Miyao gave him tips about hockey, yeah, but they never actually like, practiced like forms and stances and like EI
sword fighting and stuff.
Exactly.
Right.
Like that stuff that Zoro had to pretty much attain by training with the human mandrills, the whatever they're called, like those monkeys.
Yeah, the monkeys on the island.
Yeah, the monkeys on the island. So he had to learn that through like the training. Like he got tips. So I think the same thing would apply to Sanji too, where Ivankov may have given like some tips and stuff, but like not actual like genuine article training. So that's why I'm kind of like, when it comes from a power standpoint,
didn't Ivankov say, and you could remind me of this, didn't Ivankov say to Sanji that after he gets all the different recipes from throughout the kingdom, that like Ivankov would give him like the ultimate recipe or whatever?
I forgot.
I gotta go back and read it, but I thought there was something that was like I thought that was the reason why he did it, was I thought he had to get all the different parts, and then at the end Ivankov would teach him this like ultimate recipe.
I
always was that the ultimate recipe was somehow tied to cross-dressing or Okamas or whatever.
Well, I mean, I do know I do remember that Sanji was eating there, and then Sanji was saying how like he knew Luffy. Ivankov didn't believe him, and he's like, well, then shit, it doesn't matter if I don't believe me because I know him, and then they were going back and forth, like they're bantering. Sanji ate some of the food, and that's where it all started, where he's like, like this food's actually good, it has a lot of vitality, and then that's when he talked about, like, the recipes of the Okama. Some of the Okama came out, like, looking all muscular and shit. He's like, yeah, like, teach me that shit. And they're like, no, fuck no. Because you have to be like some kind of like Okama princess or some.
Right. You
gotta be like some type of thing like that. And then Sanji's like, well, listen, then I'm gonna take it. And they're like, okay, fine. So you're gonna take it, but we're gonna hunt you down, all right? And we're gonna try and put you into like this dress, all right? Like we're gonna Okama you up. So are you ready? Are you ready for this? Are you ready? And Sanji's like, yeah, absolutely. And then that's when all that started. But I forget if there was like an ultimate goal to it. That's
I thought there was. I got to go back and reread. Yeah,
like,
I don't remember.
I'm forgetting. Like, I'm really forgetting.
Yeah.
So
man, there was so much stuff crammed in that that little bit with all the different training that like I can't remember all those little details.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So let me shift gears to someone else completely different then. Because I did a video on this like a week ago, I think. What is your stance on Brook, man? Because Brook knows some shit, dude. He knows shit, dude. He knows shit.
I like the idea that Brook's old royal crew, because you remember he mentioned back in Thriller Bark that he was once part of like a royal guard.
Yeah.
I like the idea that the Vinsmokes killed the royal guard that Brook was once a part of, and that he then had to turn to piracy, and that's how he joined the Rumbar Pirates.
Okay, yeah. So you're in the same camp as me then, yeah.
Yes.
Because like I did a whole video on this shit, like a whole breakdown of it, and I mentioned how both Sanji and Brook apparently they like using French and Japanese sounding names for their attacks.
Yeah.
They both utilize styles of French martial arts, where you have Brook using the fencing. Sanji actually his fighting style represents the savate or the French foot fighting. These type of things. But more or less, because Brook is like 90 fucking years old.
Yeah, I mean, he knows
shit. Yeah. He knows shit. He clearly knows some stuff. And now people have been saying that the Vinsmoke probably killed his Rumbar pirate crew, which I think is possible.
Yeah.
But for me, I'm kind of like, but there's poison. And I'm like, I'm not too sure if, like assassins would use poison, yes. I don't see that. Like, that to me is very apparent. But at the same time, I'm like, would the Vinsmoke assassins themselves,
right?
You know,
because they're these mythical people. Like, why would they do something like just poison a crew? Like, that seems like something any pirate crew could do. Just
like,
big mythical evil organization. They would do something else. They would make them all disappear in like the Florian Triangle or something like that. Like, they'd do something crazy. I don't think they would just poison the crew. I totally agree with you.
I mean, granted, like, it was crazy in of itself because, you know, they did like their crew was wiped out. But then, so think about it but if you think about it from that perspective, so the Vinsmoke, they for some reason targeted Brook and the Roombar pirates after Yorkie died, and they wanted to kill them because they clearly were like, whoever targeted that crew was affected because they had poison in their weapons. So then the question would be, if the Vinsmoke did in fact attack the Roombar pirates and they killed them, why would they attack the Roombar pirates? Who would, you know, send the order? Like who paid the Vinsmoke? Or is it something to do with Brook specifically that they attacked the Roombar pirates? And this is something where I'm kind of like, well, then this has to go even further, like before the Roombar pirates, where it probably has to do with him being the leader of this battle convoy, like before he was
this royal guard.
Yeah, exactly. Sure. And he probably had to protect some high-end people from the Vinsmoke assassins. Because, that's what they do. They kill. He was on the defensive team. He had to fight against the Vinsmoke assassins, and they're a powerful family. But they have they must have subordinates. You're not gonna have like admiral tier fighters walking in. Like people were saying how they're Vinsmoke, so like if Brook can beat them or if he can like defend against them, then they're not that threatening. But the top guys of the Vinsmoke are probably like crazy. What the fuck? Not every person in that family is probably rocking like admiral level strength. Like shit.
No, of course not. That'd be implying that like everybody in Kaido. That'd be implying Sheep's Head is Yonko level. Yeah. You know, like Sheep's Head is just some dude with the gifters of Kaido's like subordinate army of Jack. Like that. No, man. No.
Exactly. Yeah. So it's that type of thing where I have to like just consider, and plus the time period was different too. So the Vinsmoke, maybe they weren't as prominent back then as they are now. Maybe they gained more influence as the years went on, as Brook was on the Florian Triangle, just standing there and then doing whatever. But that's something that the Vinsmoke may have had their roots in whatever kingdom Brook was a part of way back when.
And to tie this back into the Gorosei thing we were even talking about before, it is interesting because if you remember from Robin's flashback, the Gorosei never seemed to age. They always seem to be these just old guys who run everything. And it wouldn't surprise me if maybe Brook would recognize, if they ended up like meeting, one of those old people of the Gorosei. Because that time period would potentially line up, like if they were young, like before they were old men. Like if they were like young and then somehow entered this like plateaued stasis of like eternal age or whatever, like what if Brook knew one of them or knew the blonde one when he was young, when he was Brook's age, and that him and Brook are actually like the same age? Because Brook died. He's like 90 whatever, but he died. Like what if those guys didn't die? And obviously they didn't. They're alive and kicking, the 5 Elder Stars. So I wonder if maybe Brook has some type of connection to them, or they know something about Brook. I don't know.
Remind me, the Robin flashback, how old was she? Like
she was 10, I want to say.
So she was 10 years old, and the Gorosei they still look the same as they are now?
Yes.
The exact same.
Exact same. They were shown in like silhouette, and they looked exactly the same.
I forget about that.
Yes, and so that's like all these people talk about the Gorosei and potentially having this tie to like eternal aging or youth or body. I don't know, but like that's a whole other theory video. We're like straying too far away, I think, from like the Vinsmoke stuff.
Yeah,
but
we are.
I just wanted to bring that up. But yeah, to tie it back into like Brook and Sanji and their connection to the Vinsmokes, I do agree with you that I think the Vinsmokes have more of a tie to Brook's life before being with the Rumbar Pirates than just like the Vinsmoke family killing the Rumbar Pirates.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking too. But actually, now you mentioned before, I think what you said about that, in particular the older blonde Gorosei, him being like one of the assassins like way back when, and Brook and him, like just how Brook heard about a rookie named Roger like way back when.
Exactly.
That's something that it's fascinating. And again, the stuff that Brook would only know because Brook's 90 fucking years old. Only he would know.
He's seen like the takeover of the government. He's seen how these people have risen to power. Because I want to clarify this. I don't think the blonde Gorosei is Sanji's father. Sanji's father is, I think, some dude we haven't met yet.
Yeah.
I think the blonde Gorosei would be like his grandfather or great-grandfather if he was tied to the Vinsmokes. I do not think, just to clarify, because I mentioned that in my my Vinsmoke theory video too. People were like, "You think that guy's Sanji's dad?" I'm like, "No, bruh. I think he's like his granddad or like great-granddad."
Okay.
No, I do not think that's Sanji's father. I do think that's like someone older. And that, again, ties to him potentially knowing Brook. And like you said, Brook remembers this rookie Roger. And it'd be the kind of thing. It's like, oh, he remembers this rookie, the Vinsmoke, who now is like one of the head leaders of the government.
Okay.
And no one knows who they are. Like, they know the Gorosei, but they don't know their names, they don't know their pasts. We don't know anything else about them.
I see where you're going with that now. See, exactly. Now that makes more plausible sense to me now. Because him being the father, I thought was like, really? Like,
no, I never thought he was the father.
Yeah, okay, but now him being the grandfather or the great-grandfather, now I see what you're talking about. Okay.
Yeah, I think Sanji's father is someone we haven't met yet.
Yeah,
I think
probably.
that's going to be someone introduced, like, the head of Germa 66 or whatever.
Yeah, probably. And now, this also brings up Sanji's brothers as well, because I'm pretty sure you've seen the video, too, where, like, someone actually, like, got it right. Like, at least when it comes to, like, Sanji having, like, an assassin family.
Oh, it's Flying Panda, for sure.
Right, yeah. And how he mentions how he also has the brothers, where it'll be like, Christ, it's like Ichiji
and Ichi.
Boom, there you go. Right. So what about that? Because that I'm thinking
I said that in my own theory video. I said the exact same thing, and that was without seeing that old video. That was me saying, you know what, Sanji has 3 in the name. I think it just makes sense. I think Ichiji and Niji will be the names of his 2 brothers.
Okay.
As for if they're people we already know, or I said I think they're Bellamy and Killer. I've said that from a very long time ago. I said that Bellamy is somehow related to something. And let me drop this down for you real quick. All right, in the chapter when Sanji first revealed to the Straw Hats that he's from North Blue and not from East Blue, in the exact same chapter, Bellamy also mentions that he's from North Blue. Bellamy also has a scar above his eyebrows that has never been explained ever as to why he has this scar above his eyebrows. And I've put out this theory out there, and a lot of people agree with me. Some people completely disagree with me. I think Bellamy, when he was a kid, shaved off his eyebrows because they were a symbol of his family. And on top of that, have Bellamy and Sanji ever met? Think about it. Have Bellamy and Sanji ever met?
I don't know, but
no,
I mean,
the answer is no. The answer
okay, fine.
No.
But like,
no,
wait, hold on. But Bellamy knows Luffy. Clearly, he would know that a member of their crew is Black-Legged Sanji. How is he not ever
never seen Sanji's face? He's never seen Sanji's face. He saw the fake bounty poster. This first bounty poster after Dressrosa was the first time anybody's actually seen Sanji's real face. Before, it was like that crazy Duval draw.
Right.
And to go on top of that even further, Bellamy was obviously in Dressrosa, and Sanji was part of Dressrosa, and Bellamy was obviously a huge part of Jaya, and so was Sanji. Sanji was there with Jaya. But remember, Sanji was not with Zoro and Nami and Luffy when they met Bellamy.
Right.
He was not with them at all. Yet he brought up that he was from North Blue, and all this stuff happened. And then the same thing happened in Dressrosa. Under any normal circumstance, Sanji would have met Bellamy. Bellamy would have met Sanji face to face, and he would have seen what he looked like. But he didn't, because Bellamy was in the Coliseum, and Sanji was already off on Zou by the time that would have happened. And additionally, he didn't become part of the Grand Fleet. He left with Luffy's Vivre card, but he did not become an official member of the Grand Fleet. So I think what that means is he's being held off by Oda to eventually come back in the story when he needs to eventually meet Sanji. And on top of that, Bellamy comes from a rich kingdom in the North Blue that apparently had like a lot of crime, and that's when he said it was boring, I want to escape, I want to be part of the Doflamingo family. And we know the name of that kingdom. The name of that kingdom, was it Notice? I can't remember what the name of the kingdom was, but he gave the name of the kingdom from the North Blue that he hails from, or the area that he hails from. That could very well be where the Vinsmokes are headquartered in North Blue. They could be from that town that Bellamy first came from. And on top of that, Bellamy's older than Sanji, and so is Killer. So age-wise, they all line up with him.
Wait, but is Bellamy older than Killer?
We don't know that. But we know for a fact that Killer is older than Sanji. But I do think it's possible that Bellamy and Killer could both be Sanji's brothers, and I think Bellamy and Killer could be fake names, and that Ichiji and Niji would be their actual real names. Boom.
I mean, okay, I mean, because that is something that I haven't really ever considered, because fuck Bellamy, honestly. But,
exactly, right. No one ever... Exactly, but that's the point, right? Is that it's almost like hidden in plain sight. Like, no one thinks Bellamy... Who's Bellamy? Like, but really, when you think about it, why would Oda bring back Bellamy into the story just to be beat up in Dressrosa and give him part of Luffy's Vibra card?
Well, because of Flamingo, that's why.
Well, I know that's why Dressrosa. But I mean, if he was just there for Dressrosa, why didn't he just stay on Dressrosa then? Everything's fine there. He didn't need to escape. He didn't need to go anywhere else. He didn't need to take part of Luffy's Zebra card. And on top of that, if he was just meant to be with the Grand Fleet or whatever, he would have joined then. He would have like been part of them. He would have joined then. Like, I don't think he would have just like
actually,
up and left.
Now that I'm looking at Bellamy's photo right now, he has no eyebrows, and he
exactly.
he has a star on the side of his face
and he's got blonde hair.
Yes.
And he's from North Blue. Yeah.
Okay.
I know. And
the fact that he's from the North Blue, I think makes it a little more plausible. If it was just a blonde hair thing, but Killer's still like, come on, dude. Bellamy.
Oh yeah, no, Killer. I agree. But a lot more people agree with me that Killer is probably one of Sanji's siblings or someone related to the Vinsmokes or someone than Bellamy is. A lot of people believe the Killer thing over Bellamy. So we'll just have to wait. Bellamy makes more sense in my opinion.
It does make sense because of the whole North Blue thing. That does make more sense. And the fact that his eyebrows are shaved, he does have blonde hair. He was from a rich family way back when. But, oh man, and the fact that him and Sanji haven't even met yet, which is kind of, when you mention that fact, it's kind of like they really haven't met yet. They really have not met yet. Now, granted, I would think that he would know more about that because you had a photo, and granted, even though the photo doesn't look like Sanji, they have the spiral, which is something that may be a thing and may be innate in the Vinsmoke family, but it says Sanji. It says Sanji on the One poster. It says Sanji. So he would say, hold on, Sanji, spiraled eyebrow. No way. There's no hint of that. That's what I'm kind of like, that theory is way more concrete than freaking Killer. Killer's just a, ugh. I wouldn't even consider it. But at the same time, it's like, wouldn't Bellamy say something? Just anything. Like, by the way, Straw Hat, this guy named Sanji. Like, something, you know?
Well, no, but think about this, though. This is also very important. Bellamy might, if Bellamy is the oldest and he ran away from home before the other siblings were born, like, how would he know who Sanji is? He wouldn't know. He wouldn't know. If he didn't know he had a younger brother and he escaped before they had another kid, who's to say?
Oh, this is true, too.
Maybe Bellamy was like, when he was a kid, was supposed to be an arranged marriage or something, didn't want to be a part of it, that's why he escaped and went to go be a pirate. Maybe that was his reasoning for leaving.
Then happened to... So then, if Killer was the second son, happened to Killer too, where Killer was... Okay, so Bellamy left, so then now it's your turn to have the arranged marriage. No, fuck that shit.
And then he's like, I don't want to be a part of that. Get it out. Okay, well, we'll make it Sanji. And Sanji's like, nope, going to be a trainee chef on this boat somewhere. I ain't doing that. Exactly.
I mean...
Sanji would know Bellamy and Killer, but if Bellamy and Killer are fake names, you know, how could he know that those are his brothers unless they were named outright Nichiji and Iji? Or Ichiji. Whereas Killer is in his own realm, has never met Bellamy, never even heard of Bellamy before. And Bellamy... if he was the oldest, if he was like the one who was the oldest, he wouldn't even know that he has two brothers if he ran away from home before they were born.
I mean, wow.
See, there you go. King of Lightning Senpai, thank you for seeing it my way.
Bro.
Thank you for my way, King of Lightning Senpai.
Jesus, man. I mean, because that's...
I thought about this. I know.
Like, you really did. Like, you really went into this, man.
People were shitting on me when I did that Gorosei video, and then when I did the follow-up, the Vinsmoke one. They're like, yeah, right, they could be his siblings. I'm like, no, bro, look at the evidence. Look at the timeline. Look at what is there. It's entirely I'm not saying it's facts. I'm not saying
of course
right.
not. No. Like, no one knows if it's real till Oda actually says, yeah, no, like, this is the thing.
Except for Flying Panda, who got it exactly right. Randomly.
Yeah,
he got it.
He got the assassin bit right. Everything else, I'm like, we have to wait and see, motherfucker. All right, because I don't know about like you know, Sanji having Ashra powers. Not Ashra. Amaterasu.
And then we're talking about that.
Yeah. That's like whoa. But at the same time, I really have to consider that this is so concrete for Bellamy, not fuck Killer, for Bellamy.
Yeah.
So it's it's the Bellamy thing where I'm kind of like, okay, so the fact that you mentioned that he has that connection when it comes to the region where they both hail from. They have the blonde hair. The eyebrows are shaved for some fucking reason. And he has a scar on top of that.
Why?
And then on top of that, he does come from a royal or at least a rich family. At least that.
Yeah.
Okay. And now, granted, it could be where it's more so like he may come from the same place, but not from the Vinsmoke. But at the same time, it's like, but even still, that would still be crazy if there was something there connection-wise between those two. Honestly,
and there has to be. Why would Oda specifically keep those two characters so separate? Because what was Sanji's reasoning for not being there with Zoro and Nami and Jaya when they met Bellamy? There's no, like, he was guarding the ship.
He was guarding the ship.
He was guarding the ship. Yeah, and then with Dressrosa, he left with the other half of the crew. Right. So, yeah.
Right. So
it's like making excuses for him not to meet Bellamy.
Yeah, so there's all these things going on, and all the while Oda is just but Oda is slyly making sure that Sanji and Bellamy don't ever come into contact for some fucking reason.
And if you go back and you read that chapter, and I put it in that video that I did on this, but if you go back and you read that chapter where Sanji says he's from North Blue, and then you keep reading the chapter, and in the same chapter, Bellamy gives the same speech about how he's from North Blue. He explains he's from North Blue. There's no way he put that in there and connected those two characters and said, hey, by the way, these two characters from North Blue might be important a little bit later on, unless there was like a reason for it. There's got to be something there. There has to be. Even if he's not his brother, there's some type of relationship. Maybe he's a cousin. Maybe he was married into the family. I don't know. But the two of them have some type of history or some type of connection, whether they know it or not. Right. I feel so confident about that.
I mean, hey man, I am not gonna knock you for that theory at all. That sounds like it's one of those theories where it's like, you know what, like you're reaching for something that's actually in Earth's orbit. Like you're reaching for the moon now because because
I'm not reaching for the sun.
You're not reaching for the sun anymore. Like you're reaching for the moon now because there is a lot more substance to that than I first would give you credit for. There's a lot more substance there. Wow. Okay, bro. You. Oh man. Shit. But fucking. Bellamy.
Yo.
For that one, I can give you a I can give you that. There we go. Oh man. Okay. All right. I like that. That's a dope theory, dude. So, aside from that, I mean, I guess we can. Let me see here because there is the Big Mom stuff, but the Big Mom I think has been covered for the most part. I mean, like, what else is there to really go on right now when it comes to what we know thus far? When it comes to the year Sanji?
I mean, I don't know. I think we pretty much covered everything. His potential relationship to the people within Big Mom, his family, his powers, all the stuff with, like, demons. I really like what you talked about with the parallel with, you know, Zoro having, like, demonic Japanese powers and him having, like, demonic Anglo-European powers. Yeah. I think that's really cool. I like that. And they've always kind of been paralleled, you know. They've always been butting heads. I like
the
between them.
He'll do all the time where, like,
I like that a lot.
Sanji will be, like, on the left side of Luffy, Zoro's on the right side of Luffy. It just so happens where Sanji's, I think it's Sanji's right eye now is covered up by his hair, and you never see his right eye nowadays. And Zoro's left eye is gone or has a hidden power, whatever. And then
covered or whatever.
Yeah, whatever. I mean, I think it's actually gone. I think he just genuinely lost it. I wouldn't say he has some Sharingan thing going on there. But
I hope he doesn't. Bruh. I hope he doesn't. I hope he doesn't like enough. Oh, could you imagine he's having that fight with, like, Jack or whatever, and it's like, meanwhile, after Luffy and Sanji or whatever on Whole Cake Island with Peckham's and pudding or whatever, cuts back to Zoe, and it's like Law and Zoro are fighting with Jack, and Jack's in his ultimate awakened mammoth form or whatever, and he looks badass as hell, and everyone's screaming mammoth boys, and then Zoro's like, you ain't seen nothing yet, lifts up his his eye patch that has some ultimate power. I seriously throw up. I would throw up.
Because it's been seen and done a billion times before. Right, that's the thing. So, I mean, just from, like, the major series alone, you got guys like Kakashi. And then you got Kenpachi from Bleach. It's like, come on, dude. Is Zoro next? Like, no. Like, just come on. Yeah. We don't need that. So,
wait, it's Ultimate Bankai.
Yeah, exactly. Like, you don't need that. Just have Zoro at least start doing the demons. Like, I mean, where those go, no one fucking knows. But at the same time, he hasn't had a serious fight yet. I mean, people hoped it would have been Pika, but Pika was a bitch. He ran away all the time. So I was like, oh, fuck you then.
Because whatever. The best fight, regardless of what anyone says, dude, the best fight of the Doflamingo family members, I think in the anime, one of them was that Lao Ji fight when Lao Ji took out, or
Lao Ji inside.
That was awesome in there.
Absolutely, I agree with that.
Bro, I still think Frankie and Senor Pink was epic, and it went on for a little too long. But I think Senor Pink and Frankie was awesome. Like, I liked Senor Pink's power. I thought he was cool, and obviously people in Japan liked him enough too, because Oda left him for pretty much last of all the rest of the Doflamingo family members. I mean, like, wasn't what's his face, the Diamante? Didn't he get taken down before Senor Pink?
Oh, good question. Shit.
I don't even remember. I think it was right after.
Trevo was the last one to go. He was.
I know Treble was the last one to go.
Yeah.
And then before him was Pika, and then before him I think was Diamante. But the last like executive before the three heads was Senor Pink.
I think you're right about that one. I think you are. Yeah. But I mean that one. I mean, here's the thing, dude. Like that one. For like the longest time, just what's going on in this fight, dude?
Oh, it went on forever. Yeah.
It went on forever. It became too much of a joke, where it was like, like there's some cat. For some reason, the fucking, like, facility gotta go protect it. Oh, yeah, you're such a man. Like, what? What the fuck is happening? Like, oh my god, dude. And the ending was dope. Oh, man. The ending was super dope. Was
with the Terminate, bro, it was awesome.
Yeah, absolutely. When he swims up the side of the skyscraper, like, we're getting some air now. Like, this is not some regular suplex. Like, we're getting some air here. And then, no, I'm still kicking. He lays on the punches. He has like the Terminator glowing eyes. Like, Frankie. That was good. But everything else, I think, was just too much of like a gimmick. And I think, I mean, I know I'm deviating, but I miss the old Frankie. I miss the old Frankie who was like the leader of this gang. He would come out of nowhere with a guitar, just start like jamming out shit. Man. He fucking. Like there was times where he'd put like the dirtiest, grimiest shit. I'm like, dude, Frankie, like this guy's awesome. And now he's the Robo Boy.
That's what we should do. That should be our next. That should actually be our next discussion.
Maybe
the next one after this one should be Frankie, because there's like we don't know a lot about.
Frankie.
I'm serious, because we don't know anything about his family. They'll probably come into play at some point. I know he has where he's developed stuff with Vegapunk's old stuff in mind. We know Vegapunk is going to come into the story at some point. That's like a whole other discussion video. Like Frankie and Vegapunk and future stuff, like Mechs and One Piece. That's down the line.
Now, hear me out, because I mean, this is as far as it can go when it comes to Sanji stuff right now, because we'll find out more.
Yeah.
But
for sure,
this is one of those theories that I heard that I think is like reaching for like the stars and other galaxies type of theory, where you're like, bro, like we're going out there, but. When you reference the whole family thing about Frankie, and Oda he may cover everybody's family origin thing in the crew. Maybe. I'm not too sure, because even Zoro has some issues when it comes to his thing as well. And that has, be clarified. But, but the whole thing here is this, though. Who's Nami's actual mother? Right.
Who knows?
Exactly. So someone was telling me how Purin may actually be Nami's real name, Nami's actual birth name, because
what?
Yes, because Big Mom, she has the intel. She knows who the fuck is who, and then she's like, "Oh, like that's one of my daughters, huh? Right? Okay." So she would play this off like. She would manipulate the whole situation, knowing that Nami would somehow, follow Sanji as well. And the whole thing was like Big Mom being this ultimate puppeteer, to where she would set up Nami and Sanji being married, taking both of them from the Straw Pirates, and then all of a sudden Luffy's super fucked because he lost his chef and his navigator, and now it's like this whole that to me I think is like just super far out there. But because we don't know where Nami...
Princess Rosalina took her observatory to Mario Galaxy 5. That is 3 games away from being developed. And then said, listen, Bowser, I'm going to throw you into the sun of this galaxy in Mario Galaxy 7, and that's where that is going to go. Like, what? No way. No way. 100% no way.
That's something that
absolutely
again, it's something that I'm like, yeah, like it's really it's far out there, dude. But it's super far out there. But it's something that again, like you kind of have to like wonder like the history, like the origin of some of these characters, like when it comes to like their families. All right, I mean it kind of goes to like the same lines as like like who's Luffy's mother, like who Dragon married, that kind of stuff. But at the same time, it's like like, we know Usopp's mom, because we've seen her in, like, actual manga. We know his father's Yasop. When it comes to Sanji, that's been a mystery, now I find that out. When it comes to Zoro, again, for the most part, that's a mystery. We're going to find out at some point, maybe. Who the fuck knows? But when it comes to Nami, people have noticed how, like, Nami, and I noticed it too, she is really fucking worried about Sanji. Like, she is like, shit, dude. Like, this, like, stop again. Like, when Zoro was talking shit about him, she's like, no, what the fuck, Zoro? Like, you don't understand people's situations. I think
she wants the D.
And I'm like, yeah, like, she probably, like, has these feelings for Sanji. Like, she wants...
Yeah, of course.
Like she wants some of, Black Lake's skills, right? Not just the cooking. Like, she wants some other,
She wants an armament hockey down below.
That's what I'm saying, man. I mean,
exactly.
Shit. Black Leg, Black Tools all the way around. Fuck it.
But leg, my boy.
At the same time... But then to take that and say, okay, so then she is one of Big Mom's daughters. Like, what? Like, what?
Yeah, no. I think Pudding, the three-eyed girl, is, I'm assuming, probably going to be Pudding.
Yeah.
I think three-eyed girl is going to be Pudding. I think Sanji is going to probably have a huge crush on her. Because, I mean, she's pretty enough. She's got 3 eyes. But, I mean, 3 eyes, San means
Sanji
three
had no problems, actually. Sanji had no problems going after freaking minks. So he's
I don't think he would care that much. But I do think that, Nami does care for Sanji. Even if it's not in a romantic way, I think she does care for him almost like even like a sibling. You could make the argument like a sibling.
That is true.
And she doesn't want to see her, she doesn't want to see her like brother basically get married off to somebody who's within Big Mom's family, or she thinks like he could do better or whatever. I don't know. Because if you have a sister, I don't. I'm an only child. But like if I had a sister, right, I'm sure that sister would be protective of me if ever like I had a girlfriend and they were like, hey, this is my girlfriend. She'd be like, oh, you could do better than that,
Okay, yeah. Truth be told, that is actually fairly a good thing. Yeah, it's a good way of perceiving the whole thing because she cares, but she doesn't actually like love. Because I know Otis said that he doesn't want to actually do that when it comes to Strike Crew.
Yeah, I agree, and I mean, because people shit on their siblings, they joke about their siblings, and they're like, but when it comes down to it, like they always want the best for their siblings,
right? Exactly.
And I think that's the kind of relationship that Nami and Sanji have. I think it's like this thing where, she obviously is upset whenever he's like, oh, let me see your panties or whatever. But
right.
At the end of the day, they're still kind of family. They're both Stryads, and she wants the best for Sanji. And if he's just married off with no real goodbye to this girl with 3 eyes who she's never met before, she wants to make sure that he's at least going to be happy.
And plus, like, she could kind of, I think Brooke and her kind of saw, like, this, like Sanji's, like, when he smiled and said, like, I'll be back, I think they maybe saw, like, that death flag face, like they were kind of like, ooh. But at the same time, when I look at Brooke, he's kind of like chilling right now. When Nami's the one that's like, fuck, like, can we like do something right now? Like, can we, try and get this done? Like, can we go after Sanji or something, save his life or something? So, I mean, and then I think it's apparent in the fact that it was Luffy and Nami that went to go see Peckham's, but Brooke stayed to just party. So
yeah. I
mean, again, I don't know, because Brooke is his whole. We'll find out. Oda's gonna lay it out for us. I know that for a fact.
Brooke is definitely like the wild card in all of this, yes, I feel like, because he really knows the Vinsmoke, but like that could go so many different directions. Like Oda could do so many different things with Brooke, and we already talked about that Royal Guard thing, but I mean that's just like one possibility of like thousands. Dude, Brooke is old. He's old. He died. He's literally been to hell and back. This man has died and seen everything, and I just like he could do so many different things with Brooke, and I think that's like the big question in all of this is what's Brooke's connection to the Vinsmokes? How does he know them, and what is he going to sort of fill in for us when we get that Straw Hat separation with like the Nami, Luffy, Peckham's group, and then the Zoro, Law, Chopper group with on Zo. Exactly. I don't know what's going to happen. I think we're both in agreement though that separation is definitely going to happen at this point.
Yeah, it has to happen because
it has to.
And I do like I do like the fact that Oda is doing that, where he's taking he's taking upon himself to say we'll have one group like the new world is so chaotic to where what you experienced, like let's say like one time in the Grand Line where you were separated because of Kuma, this is gonna happen on a regular basis now. All right, this is gonna happen where like you have to team up with other pirate crews. You're gonna have to maybe send some of your guys over here. Someone's gonna be over there. You're not gonna be always together all the goddamn time in the same islands. It's not gonna be like the same old shtick where like like for the most part you'll have like island to island to island to island as usual. You'll go from place to place to place and take care of whatever issues there. That's like the One Piece staple. But at the same time, I do like how he's trying to change it up to where, well, even though we do need to go to, like, let's say, Wano Kuni and find out what's going on with the samurai, we got the Sanji issue going on. Now we need to go to this part of the New World. So you guys go to A, you guys go to B, you guys handle Big Mom or try to escape Big Mom. If Jack comes in around, you guys got to handle Jack on your own. You gotta
handle Jack.
You gotta handle Jack. You gotta take care of business.
And Jack's been hyped up too much. Like I know they keep saying, "Oh yeah,
I'm fucking hyped for Jack, dude. I'm ready for this.
I am so hyped for Jack.
I'm ready for this guy.
Mammoth boys all day. I am hyped for Jack.
The first guy with 1 billion. Yeah, first guy 1 billion.
And he's got an awesome fruit, a mammoth ancient zone fruit.
Yeah,
sick. That's such a cool power. Oh man, I can't.
I mean, like he's one of the guys that. I mean, like, because Kaido, I'm pretty sure has some crazy guys. I mean, I know people like Drake. I say fuck Drake. Fuck him, honestly. Like, to me, I think he's shitty as all hell. But that's just me. That's honestly just me. Because T-Rex, Bite, Beam, like, just get him out.
Do you think the third Calamity is also going to be an ancient zone? I think it has to be.
I think it has to. Either an ancient zone or it could be a mythical zone. It doesn't have to be because Devil Fruits are one base of power, but when you have the hockey on top of that, that's what really makes it like, like it returns to the whole Peckham's thing. Peckham's versus what's his name? Peckham's versus the guy with the swamp power. Caribou, right. Yeah, Caribou. He's a Logia. He's the highest grade of Devil Fruit, but he got bitched in one shot hockey. That's why. So you could be Ancient Zone, you could be Mythic Zone. You could be one of the, like predator-based zones. You could be a herbivore. I don't know. It doesn't matter. It depends how you use it, how you use Devil Fruits, and how you incorporate hockey into that. So they could.
I do think though, and I don't want to get too far off of it, but what you just said is a really important thing I want to note. Is I do think that the 3 calamities probably all have the same type of like level of zone power, and I do think that like Kaido's whatever his power is, because he's obviously going to have a Devil Fruit power,
right.
But whatever it's going to be, I do think his will be the sole mythical zone of the Kaido army. I think it's going to go like mythical, Kaido at the top, then his 3 calamities, all with ancient zones. Then we've got the people underneath them, which is the smile zone fruits, and then you've got like the basic like grunts or whatever underneath them.
Wait, where does Drake rank in Kaido's crew?
Drake,
I think it was like number 10 or something.
We don't know where he ranks, but we do know he was number 10. I think when he first joined, when he was against Caribou. I don't remember, but I think it's possible that he could have risen to that level of like Ancient Zone alongside Jack relatively quickly if he's one of the supernovas. I'm kind of with you though, is I feel like I want to know more about Drake. Like I'm not like hyping up his power level too much yet, but I do think just from like a Devil Fruit standpoint, I do think he could potentially be on that level.
I mean, I'm in like the reverse grade here. Forget hyping him up. I think he's just shit. I think he's just absolutely...
Oh, you don't like him?
I don't fucking like him. I don't like him, period. I don't like him, period. Right. But, I mean, because, like, Ancient Zoans are like, because what he displayed pre-time skip was fucking just ridiculous.
Nothing.
It was nothing. It was absolutely nothing, right? Nothing. Just not even, like, worth mentioning. But...
He growled and then he bit some dude.
Exactly. Like, okay. And then he got, like, and he got, beamed. And that was it. Okay, well, fuck you.
Yeah.
By a pacifist, for fuck's sakes. But at the same time, I do understand, like, when you look at someone... Oh, we are so deviating right now. But when we look at someone... when you look at someone like Rob Lucci, who had so many variants of how to incorporate his Devil Fruit, and then you look at someone like Chopper, who can use pills to mop his powers in the same fashion, and then you have guys like Awakened Zoans, like the guys in Impel Down.
Right.
The Zoans, even though at baseline they seem very basic because they're animal-related, depending on how you were able to mod up the animal/human transformations and how you can utilize certain parts of like the animal in like for example, so like let's say like Jack could, just make his hand into like an actual elephant, like a foot and just start stomping, but like
amazing.
Like stuff like that. And then how hockey would incorporate into that, I mean, it'd be crazy, but like you have like a Rob Lucci-esque half human, half mammoth giant Jack covered in arm and hockey. It's like, whoa.
He's gonna be
like,
so
whoa.
good. I can't wait. Zoro and Law versus Jack is going to be so unbelievably hyped. Like, that gets me so excited, dude. That's like, I'm more excited for that than I am for Big Mom, honestly. Like, bring that shit on, man. I'm ready. I'm ready.
Granted, like, that's if Jack actually returns to Zoe, because I don't see why he would, though. Like, that's what I'm confused about. I'm like, why would he want to? Like, he got fucked up by.
Well, we're gonna see a fight with Jack at some point, though. That's gonna happen. I mean, we're gonna see a fight with Jack. It's gonna happen.
No, that's
whether
gonna
it happens
happen.
or not, that's bound to happen. So, regardless, whenever it does happen, that's what I'm excited for.
Yeah, no doubt about it.
And I think it's cool that they have Zoro go up against him because, you know, Zoro's like the vice captain of the Straw Hats. You know, it's cool to like have him go up against like the vice captain of Kaido. You know,
in theory, he's not the vice captain. He's just the first mate.
No, I guess you're right.
In theory, the vice captain actually, I think, is Usopp.
Oh, I guess you're right.
Because Usopp did state that he wanted to be the captain, and then Luffy said no. Then I think he said, "Well, let me be vice captain." He said, "Fine," something like that. Like, I forget, but I remember hearing this before, where actually Usopp is the vice captain of the Tribe Pirates, not Zoro. So from what I've been hearing, potentially after Luffy, the second highest bounty will wind up being Usopp.
Well, Usopp does have the second highest bounty, doesn't he? He's got Usopp.
No, I think Zoro has a high one now. I think he has.
So it goes Luffy, Zoro, Usopp?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay, that's what I thought. Yeah. Because I was just saying, God Usopp has a pretty big bounty from what I can remember.
Yeah, no. He's 200 million, like just straight up. 200 million berry bounty. But
there you go.
Zoro, I'm forgetting at this point in time.
I think he's like 320. Oh, no, he's not 320. Who's 320? I don't know. It doesn't matter. We're getting way off topic. We'll wrap this baby up because we've been talking for an hour.
We have been. It has been a long conversation. Oh yeah. Zoro's actually 320. Yeah, you're right. He's 320.
Yeah, there you go. There you go. How did I know that off the top of my head? I'm proud of myself.
Good memory.
Good memory.
There you go. Yeah. So, but we've been going on for quite a bit of time. So, I mean, will folks actually watch all this video? I have no fucking idea.
I think you guys will. Thank you. I guess if you're watching this on my channel, thank you for King of Lightning for coming on and collabing with me. And then I guess me being on yours, thanks for having me. So.
Well, I'll tell my subs, you did your damn job. You should be watching the whole video. That's the way it should be, people. That's the way it should goddamn be.
Exactly. Hour and a half long. Just grab yourself some tea. Think of it like a podcast. You know, grab your body pillow of boa and just sit there and enjoy it, you know?
I mean, I don't want to say it now, but I swear to God, if this audio fucks up, I'm going to be like, God damn it. Oh, no.
No, don't say that. Don't say that.
If it fucks up, you'll be mad. I'll be salty all night, dude. Oh, man.
I would be salty.
Jesus Christ. All right, so let me so I guess that's the video. So I'll do it as I always do it. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, be sure to, of course, rate the video, comment, subscribe, share it, do whatever the fuck you want to do. Just do something, all right? And I will see you guys later. Have a nice goddamn day. And we'll end on that note.
Boom, that's it.
Boom.
Done.